Hi, I'm Dr. Christensen. Welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to show you a faster, more efficient way to process and make your alcohol extracts or tinctures. For those of you who have made your own herbal medicines in your home, the way that many of us have done it for many years is we simply add the alcohol to the herb. We'll blend it up and we'll put it in a jar. You'll let it percolate, or you'll let it extract over the next couple of weeks. You'll shake it a couple times a day, and then after 2 to 3 weeks or even longer, you'll be able to strain it and have your extract. What I'm going to show you today is something that I've found, and I think it's just a great idea, and it's a fast, simple way that you can make alcohol extracts in less than a day. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use a pressure cooker. Those of you who are familiar with canning know that you can use a pressure cooker to can your typically your beans or your meat or foods that are not real sugary or real acidic. And the pressure cooking is a great way to preserve it. But when we pressure cook, what we're doing is we're adding heat, we're adding pressure. It allows the temperature to actually increase more within the pressure canner, and it processes things much quicker. In our case, with an alcohol extract, the heat is going to cause the fiber in the plants to expand. The phytochemicals or the medicinal properties of the herbs is going to be sloughed off and put into the alcohol extract much quicker. And so rather than taking 2 weeks to make your extract, we're going to be able to do it in about 30 minutes in the pressure canner. And so I'm going to show you how we do that. And so today what I've chosen to do is to make some of our immune syrup. And this is one of our very popular formulas that we share with our patients and friends. And it's an echinacea-based formula. And so there's several ingredients. The primary ingredient in this formula is Echinacea angustifolia. It's known as the strongest or the most potent. We use the root of this plant. We purchase it already dried and cut and sifted. Echinacea angustifolia is one of those herbs that was used by the Native Americans, and it's very immune strengthening and stimulating. It helps with digestive issues. One of the interesting things I found about Echinacea angustifolia is it can also be used as an anti-venom. And so as I was studying, trying to learn what you could use to help with a snake bite, particularly in our area, there's rattlesnakes. The Echinacea angustifolia seems to be just as effective as the anti-venom that you'd get at the hospital, according to some studies that were done in India. And so, again, if you're in a situation where you don't have the hospital option with a dangerous snake bite such as that, Echinacea angustifolia or even our immune syrup may be something to consider. And so we've got Echinacea angustifolia. We also have Echinacea purpurea, which is another type of echinacea. It tends to focus a little bit more on the bacterial infections, whereas the angustifolia is viral and bacterial. And so it's a good combination. It gives the intensity as well as the depth. Another herb that's in this formula is Eleuthero root. Eleuthero root was formerly known as Siberian ginseng. It's not a true ginseng, and because of that, and it's much cheaper than the true ginsengs, the American ginseng or some of the Korean or Chinese ginsengs. And because of that, unscrupulous people were selling Siberian ginseng or Eleuthero root as true ginseng, charging much higher prices. And so the community in the herbal world decided we need to call this Eleuthero, not Siberian ginseng. But it's an adaptogen. It's a very great herb to strengthen the body as well as the immune system. Another herb that we have in this is Podiarco. Podiarco is the bark of a plant or the bark of a tree found down in South America, specifically Peru, I believe is where we get it from. And it's antifungal, used for candida. It's also a great herb that can be used as a pain reliever. It can help to relieve fevers. Cat's claw is the next one that we use. Cat's claw is an herb that's anti-inflammatory. It's good for, here I'm checking my notes. It's anti-inflammatory, it's anti-pain, it boosts the immune system. It's just a good all-around herb to use to overcome any type of illness that you may have. And then finally, what we decided to do with this formula, since I wanted to develop a formula that was going to be desirable to be taken by children, particularly picky children who don't want things to taste good, is we added some cinnamon. And cinnamon, as you may know, is great for the pancreas. It helps to handle with blood sugar regulation. It's also antibacterial, and so cinnamon is a good choice to put in this formula. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to demonstrate how I do this. And so if you were to purchase this, what I do to make this particular batch is I just pour it all in a bowl, and you can see primarily the Echinacea here, but I'm simply going to mix it. There's your Podiarco, the lighter, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put about a half a cup in each of these pint-sized jars. And so I use the pint-sized jars because they fit in my large Instant Pot. If you've got a commercial, or not a commercial, but a larger pressure canner, you can use larger jars, but this one is going to serve us well. And so a half a cup is going to go into each of these jars. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to make sure that they're about the same. Again, we don't need to be precise, but I've got that. And then to make our tincture here, I'm going to use just a regular vodka. This is 80 proof. It's 40% alcohol, and I'm going to fill these jars to about a ½ inch from the top. Kind of messy. When we're working with alcohol in making our tinctures, as I've described in some of my handouts, what we're using is the alcohol for its chemical properties. And the chemical properties that we're after is there's an OH group. So if you look at water is H2O, there's one oxygen and two hydrogens. So you've got an oxygen, a hydrogen, and an alcohol has an OH. So it's got an oxygen and a hydrogen and almost like an open hand that wants to grab onto things to stabilize that chemically. And so we use the alcohol, the 40% or the 80 proof alcohol is a good general one that we can use. If it's just leafy things, 25%. If it's more resinous, you want a higher percentage alcohol. And so you look at this, and you can see the herbs here. You can see the clearness of the alcohol. When we take this out, after it's finished, this liquid should be nice and dark and brown. And so here what I'm going to use now is I use the larger size Instant Pot. And you're going to want to use the little trivet that comes with it. And so you put the trivet down in the bottom, and this allows the water that you're going to put in to to boil and create the steam and the pressure. The cans are not going to be sitting just directly against the heating element, but it's going to be, elevated a little bit above. And I'm going to add usually about a cup and a half of water, maybe 2 cups of water to that. So I'm going to do that now. And so I've got my pint-sized jar here, and I'm just going to add that to the bottom of that. And then simply put my 4 pints in here. And do you want to show that?
I can see it.
Okay. And so I've got my 4 pints in here. I'm going to plug in my Instant Pot. And so once the lid is secure, once the vent is on the ceiling portion, it will begin to heat up. It'll begin to pressurize once the water in there starts to steam. After the 30-minute cycle completes, here's an important part. What you want to do is you want to unplug the Instant Pot. And so these have a mode where it will keep things warm, and it'll keep things going for hours if you're away. And so what we want to do, as soon as it's done with its cycle, we're going to unplug it and we're going to let it cool naturally. And so usually within an hour or 2 or 3, it will run its cycle and be done. Often what I'll do is I'll turn it on at night, and then as soon as it hits its 30 minutes, I'll unplug the Instant Pot and go to bed. And in the morning I'll come back and it'll be ready to go. And so we'll let this run its cycle, and then we'll check back with it in a couple hours and see how we did. Okay, so we're back, and as you recall, I unplugged the Instant Pot as soon as it had finished its 30-minute cycle, and I haven't bothered it since. I've let it cool down on its own, depressurize on its own, and so I'm going to take the lid off, and if it did what we hoped, and it did, I've got a nice brown liquid there, and so my pint-sized jars have basically spread the medicinal properties of the herbs throughout the liquid, and in the process, this is sealed. So each of these 4 jars have sealed, and they're ready to be strained. Now, if you take a look in the Instant Pot here, if you just do that, you can kind of see how I've got some brownness in the liquid, and so when these are pressurizing and they're percolating, I'll lose a little bit of the herbs inside the Instant Pot. But from this point, my tinctures are very strong. They're very potent. It's all been done within a few hours. All of these are going to be strained. I'll take them to my shop, and then we'll put them under the herb press, and I'll have about 2 quarts worth of liquid. And so this is our immune formula. My next step after it's strained, as we've talked in other videos, is I'll have my alcohol extract, and then I'm going to add a quart of maple syrup. And so I've got the cinnamon and the maple syrup flavor, which the kids generally tend to like. And so this is a great immune formula. It's great for kids. It's great for adults as well. And again, try this. It's a great new method, and I'm just really pleased with it. The potency of our formula seems to be much stronger. Echinacea, if you're familiar with Echinacea, both the Echinacea angustifolia and the Echinacea purpurea will cause your tongue to tingle. And so when you put something in your mouth, whether it's straight alcohol extract that we've got here now, or if it's mixed in with the maple syrup, you roll some around on your tongue, and it'll cause your tongue to tingle. This causes more tingling than the way we used to do it, just by shaking it, a couple times a day for 2 weeks. And so give this a try. You can adapt it to many other herbs, and I'm excited about this. And so I hope that you will be as well.